We've got the first total solar eclipse to come up over the United States in 40 years, of the continental United States in 40 years, and it'll be the first one in hundreds of years to go coast to coast over the continental United States. So this is a really unique and exciting opportunity for people to do a little bit of astronomy and sky watching. The eclipse is when the moon passes directly between the Earth and the Sun, and so on a small portion of the Earth's surface, the moon is actually just big enough to totally block out the light of the Sun on a small portion of the surface. And that's where you have a total solar eclipse, where the moon is not quite fully covering the Sun, which is a much bigger part of the Earth's surface. That's the partial solar eclipse. But basically this happens when the moon passes. It always happens at new moon, but when a new moon passes exactly between the Earth and the Sun, because of the tilt of the moon's orbit relative to the Earth's orbit around the Sun, this doesn't happen every single new moon, right? It has to, the tilts have to match up in order for it to work, right? So it's a fairly infrequent type of eclipse, especially compared to the other more common eclipse, which is the lunar eclipse. The Earth is much bigger than the moon, so the Earth much more commonly casts a shadow over the moon than the moon does over the Earth. So the path of the eclipse is going to start in the Pacific Northwest, and it's going to follow the United States, going to cross east and south, and it's going to end over land around Charleston. So that's going to be roughly the arc from Oregon through the central U.S., ending in Charleston. And there's a band where the total, 100% total eclipse will be viewable. That's roughly 50 miles across. And then there'll be a much larger area to the north and south of that band where partial eclipse is viewable, and that's where we are here in the Atlanta area. And here in Cobb County, we're looking at 97 to 98% eclipse. So we won't be in the total band, we won't be in the 100% zone, but we'll be pretty close. So the moon will start, it depends where you are in the US, but around here the moon's going to start to come across the disk of the Sun a little after 1, and by 3:30 to 4 it's going to be past. So the actual height of the eclipse, where the moon is most covering the Sun's disk, is going to be around 2:20, 2:30. It depends where you are exactly. It'll be slightly different times at different places. But it's mid-afternoon. A good rule of thumb, don't stare directly at the Sun. During the eclipse, while it's partial, the Sun, some of the Sun's light is being blocked by the moon. So the Sun isn't quite as bright as it normally is, and so your natural reflex to squint when the Sun is in view won't be as strong. And so there's a danger that you're protected sort of from staring at the Sun by your squinting reaction because of the Sun's brightness. That won't be as strong, and especially when it gets close to total but not total, there's a danger that people will still look at it, and particularly to look at it for long periods of time, to stare at it. That's very dangerous. So if you want to see the eclipse, you need to get a pair of approved eclipse glasses, not just a pair of sunglasses. It has to be an actual pair of eclipse glasses, and it has an ISO certification. It's going to be a really neat phenomenon. For those of us who are here, we're going to be able to see a really nice crescent. When the eclipse is at its fullest, it's going to be a very thin crescent of light, is what we'll see with the eclipse glasses. But for people who actually can get out to the total eclipse zone up in the far north of the state, they're going to be able to see the moving shadow of the eclipse on the ground. They're going to be able to see the corona. It's quite exciting. It really is a once-in-a-lifetime type of event, so that's very exciting.